everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 328. We've been talking about winter, so today it's time for winter 3. Let us talk about snow that falls from the sky. You know, as kids, I don't think I have seen a single child that said that he or she did not like snow. Children love snow. It's beautiful to watch. We can play in the snow, have snowball fights, make snowmen, just do a whole lot of fun things in the snow, right? We can go skiing, for example. But I think as we age, as we get older and older, reality hits. We have to drive to places. Snow causes traffic congestions. It causes a lot of inconveniences. So a lot of adults slowly come to dislike snow. Some even hate snow. So what is it for you? Do you like snow? Do you hate it or do you love it? Okay, let's talk about all of that today. Okay, let's begin with actual talk.
Oh, pretty soon it's going to be coming, and in Canada, they already have feet of bloody white, freezing cold snow.
Wow, you don't like snow, do you?
No, hate it.
Why?
Why? Oh gosh, how much time do you have? Well, it's freezing. I think it looks beautiful. I remember waking up at 5 a.m. when I was in university to literally scrape it off my windows in my car to go to school. It could cancel my whole day if it was high enough. I come from a heavy snow area in Canada. So it really, in the winter, it really dictated life. It just really did. And as much as it's beautiful to look at, I have to admit that, not a fan. I hate skiing. Not into the sports related to it.
Sure.
Not a fan.
Well, I'm the complete opposite. I adore snow. I think it makes everything look really beautiful and obviously white, like a fairy tale. And I have a lot of really positive childhood memories of snow in Ireland. It didn't snow that much, but when it did in Ireland, the whole country shut down. We're incredibly inefficient. I remember days off school, you know, going out on sleighs, snowball fights. I even remember holding on to the back of the cars and getting pulled along in the snow. I was a cheeky brat of a teenager. Oh, yeah. So I love it. The only thing I don't like is when it's slippy and you fall. You know, and it's, you know, it can hurt your pride as well. You know, when you fall and you look around, did anyone see me? Yeah, I think that's the worst part.
Well, the driving is dangerous in Canada. It can be very dangerous. And people can freeze to death as well.
Wow.
Hypothermia is a big problem in Canada, but it's colder than where you come from.
Yeah, and Irish people drink a lot to keep ourselves warm. That's the excuse, isn't it?
I think that happens in my country too. Well, either way, here comes the snow.
It does.
So that was a conversation between Gareth and Kelly about snow in general and many other things about snow. But as we just heard, Kelly, of course, does not like snow very much because I think she tends to get cold easily. That's the case for me. I don't get hot usually during the summer, so I don't really feel the heat in hot temperatures, but I get cold very easily. Let's say in October, even November, before it starts to get really cold, I pull out my winter coat and I dress warmly because I tend to get cold very easily once again. So for people like me, and for maybe many of you that tend to get cold easily, winter is not our favorite season, right? Okay, let's take a look at the conversation. Here we go. Kelly's saying pretty soon it's going to be coming, and in Canada, they already have feet of bloody white freezing cold snow. Okay, it's one long sentence, but simply put, she's saying that winter is coming. And in Canada, winter has already come. But here, let's take a look at the first pattern. We see a star, which means it is our pattern for today. Pretty soon. You will see or hear pretty soon quite commonly, quite often in casual conversations, casual settings, for example. Pretty soon, pretty soon. It means in no time, Not very fast, but soon. Pretty is often added in casual conversation. Okay, pretty soon. Soon, okay, soon. It's going to be coming. Winter is going to be coming. Snow is going to be coming with winter. And in Canada, they already have feet of bloody, white, freezing, cold snow. All right. So we do have a lot of adjectives here, okay? You could use many, many adjectives to talk about something, especially to stress something or to emphasize it as well, just as Kelly did. So she's talking about snow in Canada. In Canada, they already have feet of bloody snow. Feet of snow. 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet. So she's talking about lots of snow, okay? Lots of snow. Lots of bloody, white, freezing cold. She's just added these adjectives just to stress that there's a lot of snow in Canada already. Well, you don't like snow, do you? Now, this is what Gareth says because she's used words such as bloody, freezing, which often does have a negative connotation to it. Right? Bloody has a negative feeling to it. Freezing has a negative feeling to it. So after hearing these negative adjectives about snow, he says, you don't like snow, do you? Okay. And Kelly says, no, I hate it. Okay, she hates snow. I hate it. It's freezing. It's too cold. I think it looks beautiful. So, yes, snow looks beautiful. I remember waking up at 5 a.m. When I was in university. So this was when she was in college. She would wake up very early at 5 o'clock in the morning to literally scrape it off my windows in the car to go to school. So we obviously can tell that she drove to school. She had a car, so she would wake up very early in the morning to get in her car to drive to school. But what was the problem? She's saying she would wake up very early at 5 o'clock in the morning to do what? Scrape off the snow. Scrape the snow off the windows in the car. Perhaps she's talking about the windows on the sides, the front, the rear windows, and the windshield. You have to scrape the snow off. Scrape off is what? Scrape off is one of our patterns for today as well. But scrape off means to rub or I guess to scratch off, okay? Scrape, you can't just swipe something. You have to scratch it off something. Use some force to scrape something off, like gum off the floor. We'll be practicing with a sample sentence later on. But the problem is she had to wake up extra early to scrape off the snow off the window, okay, of her car. It could cancel my whole day, okay? Snow could cancel her whole day, which could ruin her whole day. And she says, if it was high enough, if it was high enough, meaning if it snowed too much, it would cancel my whole day, my schedule. I come from a heavy snow area. A heavy snow area meaning an area that where there is a lot of snow in Canada. So in the winter, it really dictated life. Here's a vocab word. To dictate, D-I-C-T-A-T-E. Dictate means what? To tell people what to do or what they should do or can do. It means to command, control people, to rule, right? So she's saying in Canada in the winter, it really dictated life. We're talking about snow. So snow really controlled everything. Everything depended on how much snow there was. So snow dictated life. Life, everything that happened in everyday life depended on how much it snowed. That is what she is saying. As much as it's beautiful to look at, I have to admit that I'm just not a fan. She's not a fan. She doesn't like snow. She says, I hate skiing. I'm not into the sports related to it. Okay, so sports related to it, she's talking about winter sports. So she's not a fan of winter. She hates skiing. She's talking about snow skiing. And she's not into any type of sport that's related to snow. Now, Garrett says, wow, I'm the complete opposite. I'm the complete opposite. I'm nothing like you. I am totally different from you. I am the complete opposite. I adore snow. Okay, adore. Adore means what? Adore means to really, really like, to love even. So if you really like something, you can say, I adore it. You can say that you adore somebody, which means that you really, really care for and love, but you can also adore something such as snow, meaning to really like it. So Gareth really likes snow. He says, I think it makes everything look really beautiful. Yes, snow makes things beautiful or look beautiful because it's white and it's like a fairy tale. Here's a vocab word. Now, parents often read fairy tales to their children before they go to bed, right? Bedtime stories, fairy tales. Fairy tales are stories for children. Okay, stories for children, and they usually have creatures or these characters that are so beautiful or charming. Now, a fairy tale, there's like Sleeping Beauty, Snow White. These are all fairy tales. So there are magical events happening and these creatures and strange animals. You know, so he's saying that snow makes everything look beautiful. It's so white and it's like a fairy tale. It's beautiful. And I have a lot of really positive childhood memories of snow in Ireland. So positive is another word for good. Okay? He said that he has many good childhood memories, many pleasant childhood memories of snow in Ireland. So yeah, why not? If I were Gareth, I would love snow as well. He says it didn't snow that much in Ireland, but when it did in Ireland, the whole country, the entire country shut down. What does he mean by that? Okay, he explains, we were incredibly inefficient. Inefficient is another word for ineffective. Okay, we'll go over the pronunciation and take a look at some synonyms later on. So he's saying things are very ineffective. If it snowed a lot in Ireland, I remember days off school, meaning he would not go to school. School would be cancelled, classes would be cancelled. Going out on sleighs, they would of course play in the snow, and there were also snowball fights. So these are fun things to do. For children, of course, you don't want to go to school, but these things can be very inefficient, for adults especially. So he's saying that things would shut down. The whole country would shut down, meaning everything would stop operating. Shut down also means to close. So, for example, if the whole country shut down, it could mean that places such as department stores, business places would close. They would close their doors. They would shut down operations. So things were stopped and closed. So it's very inefficient. Okay? I even remember holding on to the back of the car. So he was holding on to the back of the cars, getting pulled along in the snow. So this is another fun part of snow for children. Now he says, I was a cheeky brat of a teenager. This sounds very much like a British expression, okay? But a cheeky brat basically is what? A brat, okay? Children that behave their own way, whatever way they want to. So if you use bad language, you know, if you're not behaving properly or the way you should speech-wise or behavior-wise, you can be a brat. Cheeky brat. Children that just don't listen to their parents are cheeky brats, okay? So he was a cheeky brat. He was a brat when he was a teenager. Oh, I love it. The only thing I don't like is when it's slippy and you fall. Now, you might have heard this word and said, wait a minute. Oh, did I hear correctly? Slippy, slippy. S-L-I-P-P-Y, as you said. And in parentheses, I added the word slippery because slippy means slippery. Okay, it's slang. It's British. Well, it's informal or it's slang in British English. So this is chiefly British English, and slippy means that it's easy to slide, or slip means slippery. So he doesn't like to slip. And it can hurt it can hurt your pride. It can embarrass you if you slip in the snow. And he gives an example. When you fall and you look around and you say, "Oh, did anyone see me?" I think that's the worst part. So he's giving an example of when it snows and maybe the roads are slippery, the floor or ground is slippery, and you slip and you get up and look around. "Oh, did anyone see me?" He's talking about that. Anyway, Kelly says, well, the driving is dangerous. She talks about how driving can be dangerous. And then she says in Canada, it can be very dangerous. And people can freeze to death. Freeze. You can freeze water and it becomes ice. So we're literally saying that people can freeze to death. They can die from extreme cold, okay? Hypothermia is a big problem in Canada, okay? But it's colder than where you are from. The point is, hypothermia is a big problem in Canada. What is hypothermia? It's very, very dangerous. It can cause death. This is when your body temperature drops suddenly, or it just drops to a very dangerous level. That is hypothermia. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is what is considered a very serious problem or a big problem in Canada. And then moving on. Gareth says Irish people drink a lot to keep themselves warm. He's talking about drinking alcohol to heat their body. And he says that's the excuse. People use this as an excuse to drink, to keep warm. And Kelly agrees. She says, I think that happens in my country too. Okay, well, either way, here comes the snow, she says. Here comes the snow. That's right. As winter is approaching, yes, winter brings along snow, and it can be the worst time or the best time for people. Let's take a listen to it one more time.
Oh, pretty soon it's going to be coming, and in Canada, they already have feet of bloody white, freezing cold snow.
Wow, you don't like slow, do you?
No, hate it.
Why?
Why? Oh gosh, how much time do you have? Well, it's freezing. I think it looks beautiful. I remember waking up at 5 a.m. when I was in university to literally scrape it off my windows in my car to go to school. It could cancel my whole day if it was high enough. I come from a heavy snow area in Canada. So it really, in the winter, it really dictated life. It just really did. And as much as it's beautiful to look at, I have to admit that, not a fan. I hate skiing. Not into the sports related to it.
Sure.
Not a fan.
Well, I'm the complete opposite. I adore snow. I think it makes everything look really beautiful and obviously white, like a fairy tale. And I have a lot of really positive childhood memories of snow in Ireland. It didn't snow that much, but when it did in Ireland, the whole country shut down. We're incredibly inefficient. I remember days off school, you know, going out on sleighs, snowball fights. I even remember holding on to the back of the cars and getting pulled along in the snow. I was a cheeky brat of a teenager. Oh, yeah. So I love it. The only thing I don't like is when it's slippy and you fall. You know, and it's, you know, it can hurt your pride as well. You know, when you fall and you look around, did anyone see me? I think that's the worst part.
Well, the driving is dangerous in Canada. It can be very dangerous. And people can freeze to death as well.
Wow.
Hypothermia is a big problem in Canada, but it's colder than where you come from.
Yeah, and Irish people drink a lot to keep ourselves warm. That's the excuse, isn't it?
I think that happens in my country too. Well, either way, here comes the snow.
It does.
Yes, it is time for actual expressions, a chance for us to take a look at those vocab words and the patterns we saw in today's actual talk conversation. Let's review them together. So, first of all, we have dictate. dictate. It means to govern, control. Okay, rule. Fairy tale is what? Fairy tale can be used in the noun form and also as an adjective. Now, it can be used to express something that is romantic, nostalgic, fictional. But if it's used in the noun form, it would be a fictional or romantic story. Okay, usually a story for children. Magical events happening. And positive is what? Means good, forward-looking. Something that could emphasize pleasantness. Okay, you could talk about positive childhood memories related to snow. Inefficient. Inefficient. Let's try it one more time. Stress goes right here. Inefficient. It means feeble, incompetent, or ineffective. And slippy is what? It's slang, especially chiefly used in British English, and it's informal. It's another word for slippery. Okay, so it's icy, even wet, something that causes somebody to slip or fall or slide could be described to be slippy or slippery. Okay, now we've got freeze, chill. Refrigerate is also a synonym, which means to make cold. Okay, and finally, hypothermia. Hypothermia. This is subnormal body temperature. We're talking about a drastic drop in our body temperature, which can cause death. Okay, let's move on to pretty soon. Pretty soon is what? Approximately, almost, in no time. Okay, it's usually used in casual conversations, pretty soon. I lost track of time. I'm going to have to leave pretty soon. So, pretty can actually be left out, okay? It means the same thing. I'm going to have to leave soon. I'm going to have to leave pretty soon. It does mean the same thing, but it's used more commonly in casual conversations when pretty is used with soon, pretty soon. And then we have scrape off. It means to rub or stroke off something, to scratch off something. Here's a sample sentence. Ted had to scrape gum off the school hallway as punished. We're talking about scraping gum off the hallway floor as a punishment. So this is what I used to do, or my friends would do in elementary school, I think. When we got in trouble, the teacher would tell us, go to detention. And in detention, we had to scrape gum off the floor of the school hallways. So that is something that could happen. And then let's move on to our last one. Cheeky brat would be a child, a girl or a boy that's disrespectful in speech or behavior, that does not behave properly. It can be a brat or a cheeky brat. I hope my niece doesn't become a cheeky brat when she starts high school or even middle school. Yeah, kids, they become brats so fast. Anyhow, a brat or a cheeky brat is a child, a girl or a boy that behaves wrongly, that is very disrespectful in behavior and in speech. So keep it in mind, cheeky brat. Okay, that's a wrap. Practice them more on your own.
Although I am from Britain, you might be surprised to hear that actually we don't have that much snow, especially compared to some of my American or Canadian friends. That being said, we have lots of different words for different kinds of iced rain. For example, we have sleet, hail, slush when it's on the ground, and mainly it's because the weather is so bad in the UK. It's not that cold and it's not that hot, that when it does snow, it ends up being sort of a wet mess on the ground, and can be quite dangerous when we have black ice and you're driving along and you can't see the ice on the ground. With all these negative things I'm saying, you probably think that I don't like snow. Actually, I quite enjoy snow sports in the wintertime, but going to work and driving in the car, I really do not like it.
Today we had Eugene helping us out. He is from the UK. So, did he say there's a lot of snow or not? Well, here, let's check it out together. You might be surprised to hear that actually we don't have that much snow. So nope, they don't have a lot of snow. Moving on, it can be quite dangerous when we have black ice and you're driving along and you can't see the ice on the ground. So this is especially dangerous if you're driving or even walking on the road because you cannot see the ice on the ground. Let's take a look at black ice. I'm not quite sure what they call it in Korean, but black ice is ice on the ground, okay? But the color of the ice is not black. It's called black ice because it's invisible. Ice is transparent, but it's because you can see through the asphalt, so it looks black. But in reality, it's transparent, it's clear. So we often say that it's dangerous. Black ice is dangerous because black ice can be clear, but it can look black just like asphalt, which could cause you to slip when you're driving or even walking on ice. Okay, it looks invisible to the eye. That's why it's called black ice. Okay, and we have one final one. I quite enjoy snow sports in the winter. So we're talking about snow sports in the winter time, of course. So that's what Eugene has mentioned. Although there isn't that much snow in the UK, he really enjoys snow and winter sports. And that is a wrap.
Although I am from Britain, you might be surprised to hear that actually we don't have that much snow, especially compared to some of my American or Canadian friends. That being said, we have lots of different words for different kinds of iced rain. For example, we have sleet, hail, slush when it's on the ground, and mainly it's because the weather is so bad in the UK. It's not that cold and it's not that hot that when it does snow, it ends up being sort of a wet mess on the ground and can be quite dangerous when we have black ice and you're driving along and you can't see the ice on the ground. With all these negative things I'm saying, you probably think that I don't like snow. Actually, I quite enjoy snow sports in the wintertime, but going to work and driving in the car, I really do not like it.
People often say that I become a rabbit in the snow because I hop up and jump up in the snow. I love to step on the snow that has just fallen and just has covered the ground when it is untouched. I want to be the first to touch and step on that snow. Are you like that as well? And we talked about snow, the dangers of snow, of course, the great things about snow as well. So hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Next time, let's move on to part 2 of our lottery topic. And once again, talk about if I won $1 million. We'll get to hear some different people's stories about winning the lottery. So yeah, tune in for that as well. In the meantime, come to our homepage, everyone. Come on over to www.ebse.co.kr. Once you're there, look for Actual English with Jennifer. And if you have any thoughts you want to share, comments, questions, feel free to post them up on our message board. Okay, that's a wrap for today's lesson, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'll have to see you again next time. Until then, take care and bye for now.